Welcome to the Art and Soul Podcast. I'm Alicia, your fellow dreamer and guide on this path of healing. This podcast is our sanctuary, a place where artists, creatives, and sensitive souls like you and me can come to recharge and find inspiration. You'll find tips and tools to help you on your awakening journey. Let's dive deep and discover the magic inside of us. Hello and welcome to another week. I am so happy you're here for this episode. I think I have a lot of new listeners this week, so if you are new, welcome. I definitely recommend that you go and check out some of my first couple of podcasts and maybe also my Ego Death podcast, because it'll give you a really good insight into who I am as a person and how I ended up here doing this work. But all that being said, I'm so glad you are here today, and I'm so glad that my work has resonated with you and you're listening to this podcast. Last week, we discussed a little bit about how and why energy healing works and some of the science behind it. And I know some of you really resonated with that episode. So I wanted to kind of extend that even a little bit more and talk about the different energy centers in our body and why it's so important that each one of them is balanced and how it affects our life, why it matters. So that means that we are starting at the root of all things, and we are starting with the root energy center, the root chakra. Now, just as a preface, for those of you who aren't sure what a chakra, basically just the word chakra itself means wheel. And the chakras in the human body are the major energy centers in the body. You have several energy centers, both major and minor, but the minor ones don't get talked about quite as often, and they're not so important in terms of regulating your entire life and your full body system. So usually we just talk about the 7 main chakras. And the chakras are not just a spiritual component, although they do have a metaphysical quality to them. They also have a physical quality to them. All of the chakras are in alignment with nerve plexuses in the human body. And nerve plexuses are the places in the body that innervate different organs and glands and send signals in the body. So if you're interested in more on that, definitely listen to my previous episode on the science behind energy healing, because that will help you to understand how all of that works on a deeper level. So for the next 7 weeks, we are actually going to deep dive into each of the 7 chakras. And I'm starting with the root because it is the base of everything. If your root is unbalanced, if the base is unbalanced, something cannot stand. You can think of it kind of like a pyramid. If the base is wobbly or it's malfunctioning in some way, then everything is just going to topple over. You have to build on the foundation of yourself. And this is why within the healing community, one of the big hot button topics right now is something called embodiment. Because embodiment is bringing you back into your body. And ultimately, what it's doing is it is satisfying that need to be stable at the very base of everything. You have to be stable before you can start working in some of the other areas. So let's talk a little bit about what this root chakra is, what it does, where it is, and why it's important for you. And then I'll tell you a little bit about how you can determine whether yours is overactive, underactive, or completely balanced, and some things that you can do to start to balance and work through the energy there. In my own personal experience, when my root chakra is out of balance, when it is misaligned in some way, I really cannot function. And I think a lot of people are that way. That is what we call survival mode. When you're living in survival mode, there is something off in your root chakra. And like I said, then it affects all of the other 7 chakras. So before we get into the root chakra specifically, let's just name all the chakras so that you have some idea what I'm talking about when I talk about the other chakras too. So at the base of your spine, the very tip of your spine, where you sit on the ground, is your root chakra. The root chakra actually points down. All of the other chakras point out except for the top one, which points up. So the root chakra is pointing down toward the earth, and it is the place in your body that you ground into the earth. You also ground into the earth at your feet as well, but that is kind of one of the minor chakras that we'll talk about at a later time. The root is where you sit on the earth and you connect with the earth. Moving up in the body, the sacral chakra is the second chakra, and this energy center is right over your sacrum in the back, and in the front, it's right below your belly button. Then as we move upward, the third chakra or energy center is the solar plexus chakra. The solar plexus is right above your belly button and in your mid-back. Moving up a little bit higher, the heart chakra is right over your heart in the center of your chest and also in the middle of the upper back. Then you have the throat energy center, which is right over your throat and also in the back of your neck. And then you have your third eye or your brow energy center, and this is right between your brows in the center of your forehead. And lastly, you have your crown chakra, and your crown extends above you and it sits on the top of your head like a crown. So as we go through, we will talk about the meanings of all of these and why they're important and everything. But for now, let's go back down to the base of the spine and talk about the root. As I said, when my root is out of balance, I am very unstable, maybe a little bit scared. And it often happens when my survival is at stake or when my body thinks my survival is at stake. So when we were moving and traveling a lot and we didn't have a home base, we didn't have any place to call our own home, my root chakra was really all over the place. And it was something I really had to focus on to make sure that I was grounding, that I was releasing, and that I was not unstable in that sense. So a lot of times if you are moving or if you have a home environment where you don't feel particularly safe or secure, this is going to affect your root chakra. And we'll get into a little bit more about why that is later. The other thing I want to talk about in terms of all the chakras is that we are all bio-individual, which means we all have different energy centers that are more defined, more powerful than some of the other ones. I am a person whose upper energy centers are defined, more defined than my lower energy centers. And what I mean by this is I operate and I function more out of my heart, my throat, and my third eye than I do out of my root or my solar plexus or my sacral energy. The way you can find out what your defined energy centers are is you can look up your human design chart. And your human design chart is like a very extreme, detailed version of astrology. It's all based on when you were born and where you were born. And it helps you to understand how you move through the world, and it helps you to understand where you may be weak and what parts of your energy body you might have to focus on and work on a little bit more than others. So for me, it's very easy for me to be in my upper 3, even 4 energy centers, but my lower 3 energy centers kind of are more challenging for me to be in. So I have to do things like grounding practices, move in my body, focus on my body, focus on those lower energy centers, dance, really move the energy in a different way than someone who is more defined and more stable in those lower energy centers. It also means that those energy centers that are less defined in me, I am more persuaded by other people's energy in that area. So if someone else is feeling really unsafe and I'm around them and I'm in their energy, I may start feeling unsafe if I'm not careful and if I'm not aware that their energy is affecting me. Their heart, their voice, their third eye energy might not affect me so much because those are more defined in me. But the things that are less defined, I'm more vulnerable to those in different environments and when I'm around other people. So find out what your energy centers are that are defined, and this will tell you if you're more of a earth-based person, a more grounded person, and maybe you need to open up some of the upper layers of your energy and work with those a little bit more. Or maybe you are a more etheric, sky, head-based person, and you need to focus more on grounding in, rooting down, and that embodiment piece. A lot of times too, the definition of your energy centers will also inform your coping mechanisms that you've developed as survival patterns or as a child to get through trauma or different experiences. And it's important to kind of look and see if your survival patterns and your behavioral patterns are out of your more defined or less defined energy centers, or if maybe you've picked up patterns from the people around you in your family, in your environment, the caretakers that you had as a child. Maybe you've picked up certain patterns, but that's not actually serving the way that your energy is built. So that's an important thing to look at too, and just something that can give you a little insight if maybe the way you're functioning in your life has not been benefiting you. Maybe it's because you're utilizing patterns for a different type of energy than your own. There are far more and better coaches and experts on human design, so I highly recommend finding a human design coach if that interests you, or even a gene key coach. It's kind of all part of human design, and they can help you determine how your energy is laid out and how it functions. So let's get back to the root chakra. So like I said, it's located at the base of the spine, and it is associated with the earth element. Each one is kind of associated with different elements, and the root is associated with earth. And again, that's why it's so important and connected to grounding. And as I mentioned, this is also connected to your survival. If you think about it, the way a baby comes into the world, when a baby first comes into the world, they are developing their root chakra. They're developing that first energy center. So their first year of life from 0 to 1 is all about survival. It's all about having their needs met. It's not about emotions. It's not about their personal power. It's not about their connection with other people. It's not about their voice and their truth. It is about survival and survival only. Now, of course, you want a parent who is connecting in all of those other ways, but the child's main objective in that first year of life is survival and learning to survive. This energy center governs safety, it governs security, and it governs your physical health even. Safety and security all has to do with feeling protected in the world. Like I said, in your environment, with the people you are around, within society, within your role in society. It also is significantly affected with financial stability. So if you feel like your finances are all over the place, if you are losing money constantly, if you're having trouble saving, if you don't have any sort of financial cushion, a lot of times that can make you feel unsafe. It can make you feel insecure and sort of vulnerable to the world. So not only that, but it is also connected with your ability to provide for yourself and your family, to be a part of a tribe, to belong to a tribe, and to be able to contribute to the tribe. So this includes like your home, your food, like all of those basic needs are all found here in this area. And then when we look at physical health, part of the reason is because when we talk about being spirit beings in a physical body, this is the most physical you can be in your body. Like this is the lowest point, the most dense point in your body. And so this place is connected to the functioning of your skeletal system, the bones, the joints, the health of the immune system, ensuring your body's defenses are strong. And all of that has to do with staying grounded and staying connected to the earth in the present moment. Because again, we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. There is a reason we are in these bodies. And a lot of times when we look at spirituality and we look at trying to expand our consciousness and expand our connection with the divine and all of that. It's fantastic and it's amazing, but a lot of us tend to go up and want to leave our bodies or to escape this existence in some way. No matter what religion you look at or branch of spirituality, there are always a group of people, a significant group of people that are waiting to go to heaven, waiting for Jesus to return, waiting to leave their earthly bodies. And to that I say, there is a reason that you are in this body right here, right now. And there's a point to it. A lot of beings, a lot of energies out there that are in other dimensions, other realities from our own, wish that they had physical bodies. We are lucky, we are blessed to have these physical vessels that we get to use to experience all aspects of pain, joy, and everything in between. And so part of being an enlightened individual, part of being a fully conscious human and really grounded in your spirituality is actually being really present and grounded in your physical body. So the ability to stay grounded, to stay connected to the earth, to stay in the present moment is actually part of what makes us happy as human beings. It's the ability to stay present and to stay rooted in this reality, even when things are out of whack or going crazy. So we've got safety and security, we've got physical health, we've got grounding and stability, and then also those basic survival needs: food, water, rest, the things that make you feel good in your body. Sometimes we think that we're upset, we are emotional, we are all over the place, and we just needed a snack. We just needed a drink of water. We just needed a good night's sleep. All of those things have to do with balancing your root chakra and feeling taken care of, feeling like you are meeting your base needs, your survival needs. And a lot of times when you're going through depression or some really intense emotional experience, an ego death or anything like that, you are being pulled out of the body so much. You're so focused on what's going on in the mind. You're so focused on the emotional component to your experience that you almost forget about the body and lose the body. And that's why sometimes you won't be able to eat, you won't feel hungry, you won't want to sleep, or you'll want to sleep way too much and you don't want to get out of bed. Because your body is trying to balance those basic needs. And a lot of times, this is why it's harder to take care of yourself. It's harder to keep your environment clean, all of that stuff when you are going through difficult experiences. So in order to combat that, what you need is to get back into the body. And this is why, as hard as it is, going for walks or doing something physical is really valuable to someone who is struggling with depression or being too much in their mind and in their emotions. Because meeting those basic needs first is actually the first step to helping you start to feel better and feel more in your body. So the next facet of the root chakra is the sense of trust and belonging. So this is not only just trust and belonging on earth as a human, but within your family, within your group, again, within your tribe, within your community, your local community and your community at large. So if you feel like an outsider or you don't feel like you belong somewhere, a lot of times there is an imbalance here and there's some sort of reason for that. Maybe you've never felt like you belong. If you've never felt like you belong, there's a good chance that your root chakra is out of balance. And then also this even comes down to a sense of trust, a trust in yourself, a trust in others, and then a trust in this whole process of life, a trust that there's a reason for you to be in a body and be on earth. Now, this is also where your primal energy lives, where your primal instincts come from. So this includes your fight or flight response. Like this is where all of that arises when you're in danger. You're immediately like in go mode or you're in freeze mode, whichever it is. And this is where the energy comes from to take action, like to face the danger, face the challenges. So if you are in freeze mode a lot, again, this is a place to look at because your body should be able to run, it should be able to fight. But if you're freezing for some reason, then there's a disruption here. Now, this is also a connection to the physical world. So this is your relationship to your physical world, not only your environment and your surroundings, but also nature. How you feel in nature. Are you a part of nature? Do you feel a part of nature? Or do you feel very far removed from nature? Do you feel like you know your place in nature and in the world? And then also it's connected to material possessions. Material possessions get a bad rap because you don't want to be like overly materialistic. And I get that. And yes, I agree. But some of this material world is here for us to enjoy and to have a good time. And this is where you connect to all of that. And this is also where if you are over concerned with your material life, your material world, this is where that imbalance lies too. Your need for more possessions, your need for more money, all of that is a lack of trust. So all of that is here too. Now, on a physical level, this space is connected to the health of your adrenal glands, which are linked to your stress response, again, that fight or flight response, and also your energy levels. It's like your battery meter. So it's linked to that, and then it's also linked to your reproductive organs, and especially the way that your reproductive organs ground you into the physical energy. I mean, both this and your sacral energy center right above this one have to do with bringing life into the world, right? I mean, this is where you make a baby, This area of your body has to do with bringing the spirit into the physical. The sacral is all in charge of the creation of that, and the root is in charge of really bringing it home, driving it home into earth. And if you think about the other thing that happens out of the root is you poop. So you're also getting rid of things. You are releasing things this way. You are cleansing your body. You're getting rid of the waste physically and energetically in this space. So as we look at all of this, I will continue to remind you, it's so important to see how it connects with the physical body. It's not something completely separate. It's all connected. So from an energetic perspective, the root chakra is what functions as the human body's battery, the battery meter. And it determines how we allocate our energy. Are we thinking too much? Are we doing too much? Are we overthinking, overdoing, or just being? So based on how grounded you are and how in your body you are and how aligned your root chakra is, this will determine where your energy is distributed. So this impacts everything in your life. It impacts how you function in the world, but it also impacts how you manage your stress and how you respond to life's challenges, to the things that come up every day, whether you're in fight or flight, whether you're able to handle them peacefully and harmoniously, whether you're on the defensive mode all the time, or whether you're able to take in other energy and look at it and process it and then let it go without absorbing it or taking it on as your own. So if you are having an imbalance in this area, your energy is going to feel scattered. It might feel drained. You might put it into different activities or work, and you might be overly busy. You fill your entire schedule, or you can't do anything and you're sleeping all the time. Being totally balanced here is going to create a sense of staying calm and staying focused right in the middle of things so that you're not expelling all this excess energy during those stressful moments. Let's talk about being versus doing for a second. So being refers to being in that state of presence, stillness, connection with yourself, connection with the earth, slowing down. Our society is so incredibly fast that we don't even have a moment. Our society's root chakra is all out of whack because everybody is so overly busy and they're completely burnt out. When you are in a state of presence, when you're in a state of stillness, and you're able to just be in the moment, and you have space and you have time to just be in the moment. You're able to process things. You're able to process what's going on with you mentally, emotionally, and release it from your body. And you're able to reflect on things and relax. So ultimately, if you can live in that state, if you can be in that state, if you can be in that slowness, in that calmness, then you have the space to actually look at your next step and look where you're going and step into it with all of your power and with all of your being. And then on the other side, the flip side of it, the doing aspect has to do with actually taking action and making forward movement and progress. And sometimes if your energy center is too much in the being, or too much in that freeze mode, you're not able to move forward. You're not able to achieve goals and fulfill your responsibilities and interact with the world around you. So it's kind of a balance between both, just being and doing, being fully present and still taking action, because from that present place is where you can take action. So when your root chakra is fully balanced, you naturally will do this. You'll naturally know when you're coming up to that burnout point, when you're feeling like you're doing too much. And at the same time, you'll also understand when you're not doing enough. And it's a different feeling than guilt or shame pushing you into action. It's more of moving at a slow pace from a place deep within you that's actually energized and actually safe and stable and secure. So another thing that really impacts the health of our root chakra is going back to that first year of life, 0 to 1 year old, and really the first 7 years of your life, because that up until that age is when your subconscious mind is being programmed by your caretakers, your environment, the people around you. If you had unmet needs, especially in childhood, these can create really deep-rooted patterns that affect your root chakra. These are the survival patterns that I was talking about before. Some of your survival patterns are mirrored to the people that took care of you and the way that they programmed you, and then some of them are to protect you from the way that you were taken care of or your needs that were not met, to protect you in a state when your needs were not met. And then a lot of times as an adult, these patterns can manifest as fear, as anxiety, or this constant feeling of insecurity, or like you're not enough, or like you don't belong. And then a lot of times these issues actually lead to other issues like addiction, like overeating, like excessive spending, any kind of substance abuse, because a lot of times not only are you trying to fill that void and balance that place in your body, but you're also not sure that you will always have enough. So a lot of people who have an imbalance in their root chakra especially have problems with overeating or being satiated in some way, or have some kind of substance abuse problem, because they're needing that validation that they are safe and secure and that they have some sort of security blanket. And it comes in the form of those survival needs like food, water, that kind of thing, money. So let's talk about identifying your imbalances. How do you know if you have an overactive root chakra or an underactive root chakra, and what do you do about it? These are the signs of an overactive root chakra. Some emotional symptoms might be excessive materialism, greed, aggression, and resistance to change. And a lot of times these are fear-driven behaviors. A lot of people who have an overactive root chakra are extremely dominant and fear-driven. They have a really bad need for control. They might even have physical symptoms like constipation, lower back pain, inflammation in kind of the lower body. You might also have some energetic manifestations of restlessness or hyperactivity in some way. So that's if it's overactive. If your root chakra is underactive, here are the symptoms. You might feel insecure. You might have anxiety, especially social anxiety, but all kinds of anxiety. You might feel detached from reality in some way, or like you're not a part of things, that you don't belong. You might have difficulty concentrating, and you might also feel like you have no motivation or purpose in life. a lot of people that I work with that have underactive root chakras, as soon as you get them connected and you get that balanced, they have so much more motivation and drive and excitement for life. So if you're feeling like you don't know what your purpose is, or you're just like blowing in the wind and you don't really know why you're here, and that's making you feel anxious and detached, then that's probably one of your issues here. Now, physically, you might feel tired all the time, super fatigued, very fatigued. You might also be anemic. Now, I'm not going to tell you what to eat and what not to eat, and that some diet is right or wrong, but I will say a lot of the vegans that I have worked with, many times they have to work that much harder to be grounded because they are not connecting with the earth in a really tangible way, like eating animal products. And I know that sounds so crazy and probably controversial, and I'm not saying you have to eat animal products, but what I am saying is that there is something about doing that, about consuming animal products, that does help to ground you and ground your energy and bring you down to earth a little bit. And this is actually the reason a lot of spiritual individuals are vegan. They want to have that heightened vibration. They want to have that heightened sense of reality. And all of that is truly fine and good. But you need to find alternative ways to make sure you're grounding otherwise, because eating meat, eating animal products does ground you. So a lot of people who are really underactive in their root chakra might be anemic, and that's not even just because their root chakra is underactive. Like, it literally might be because they are not getting the nutrients that they need in their diet. So you have to be really mindful about that and really careful about it. And then lastly, another physical symptom is that these people might have issues with their legs or their feet, like any kind of physical issues. Maybe you get a sprained ankle all the time, or you've got knee issues. A lot of times, if you are feeling clumsy, or you're always running into things, or you're tripping a lot, or stumbling, stubbing your toe, it's because you're kind of out of body. So you need to ground back into your body. And let's talk about grounding here too for a second. Grounding is a few different things. Ultimately, it's just connecting your energy back into Earth. It's like plugging you back into the planet. There are a lot of ways you can ground, but ultimately that's what you're doing, is you are bringing your energy and plugging it into the earth. So grounding can be done by just putting your feet on the earth, your body on the earth, on the grass, the dirt, the rocks, the sand, by being in the ocean, putting your body in the ocean, and really feeling that connection to the earth. But grounding can also be done in other ways, like meditation and visualization. There are many grounding meditations. In fact, I'll probably put one out this week for you. And these meditations really connect you deeply into the earth's energy specifically. And then there are things like gardening, really connects you to the earth. Even cooking food, like working with your hands, all of those things are very grounding because they're bringing you into your body. Now, if your root chakra is completely balanced, you are going to feel grounded. You're going to feel secure, even if life is wild, even if there's chaos going on around you, or even in your environment, in your home. You're going to feel grounded and capable. You're going to feel confident that you can come up against these challenges, that you can problem solve them, that you can work through them. And then not only that, but you'll have a strong sense of belonging to both your family, the group that you're in, the community that you're a part of, and the world at large. Like, you will have a deeper meaning and a deeper purpose for being here, and a sense of purpose. And then physically, you're going to have that overall vitality. You're going to have stable energy levels. You're going to have good physical health. So if any of that is off, this is the number one place to start. Because like I said, everything else, every other energy center, every other part of your body builds upon this. This is stage one. This is the foundation of everything while we're here in these earthly bodies. All right, so now I want to discuss, because I know a lot of you who are listening to me are artists, creatives, writers, producers, actors, visual artists, dancers, whatever. I want to talk about how creatives specifically may struggle with the root chakra imbalance. The number one and the first thing that always comes to mind and that I always check with any of my artistic clients is that financial piece. Because if you have financial instability, there is a stereotype of the starving artist. If you've got that going on, then you're going to feel self-doubt. You're going to feel ungrounded. You might feel like you don't know what your purpose is or what your path should be because of your financial instability. And thankfully, because of the world we live in with the internet and the way we can put our art out into the world, there are opportunities for you to resolve that problem financially. But for many of you, that is a challenge. So in my opinion, the best way to work with that as an artist is to just work with the root chakra and start to balance that energy, and your finances will start to match it, rather than having to figure out or change your financial situation and then have that change your root energy. Does that make sense? So this is just something to be aware of. If you are feeling self-doubt, if you're feeling super ungrounded as a creative person, look at your financial situation. See if there's anything you can amend or work through, and then go to the root chakra. Because this way, when you work with that energy, then when things are all up in the air, when you're between gigs, when you've sold a piece of art, but you haven't sold anything for a few months, then you have a better foundation to create from, rather than that scarcity and that feeling of instability. Now, let's talk about grounding for the purpose of your creative flow. When you're grounded, you have this ability to focus and you're more consistent. And not only that, but you feel like you can express what you actually feel, how you actually show up in the world, your authenticity. You're able to be a little bit more vulnerable. And so if you are ungrounded here, you might feel like you don't have that ability to express yourself creatively or to do it consistently in a consistent manner. In addition, if you are someone who faces rejection quite a lot, like a lot of my actor friends, I know that you are getting more rejection than you are acceptance. And after a while, that starts to wear on you, especially if you are imbalanced in this way. So if you can bring yourself to feeling like you belong, like you are authentically an actor, even in those moments of feeling rejected, or you are authentically like you really are a painter, even if you haven't sold a piece in a while. That is what we're working with here. That is that energy that we're working with here at the root. So to do that, to feel grounded in the face of rejection, in all of the uncertainty, in your desire to produce art consistently, in order to do that, you can meditate. You can do some of these grounding practices where you're sitting outside, taking time in nature. You can participate in physical activities like running or walking or exercise or dance or any of that is really going to help. And then the other thing is to find a creative environment that is supportive. Find a group of people that are also going through what you're going through and who actually support the work that you're doing, who actually support your art and your creativity, so that you don't feel like you're challenging them and they're challenging you. Now, I will say, if you are looking for that, that is what I am providing here, is a group of artists who are growing and healing together. You want to be around people that are excited for you. You want to be around people that are cheering you on and rooting for you. And if you don't have that, that might be something to seek, to look for. Because when you have that supportive environment, you're going to feel safe, you're going to feel grounded, and you're going to feel like you belong and you have purpose because you have purpose with that group of people. All right, so let's just talk about some really simple and basic techniques and practices that you can use to balance your root energy center. Of course, you can always come see me. I will help you, gladly help you with some energy work. But let's talk about what you can do on your own. So grounding, as always, being in the earth, being in nature, gardening, making food, working with your hands, all of those things are grounding experiences. And then visualization, grounding visualization, doing those grounding meditations. Those are going to help you a lot. Sound and vibration actually will really help. So if you're a person who likes to sing, if you are a person who enjoys music, go to a concert, play some music, play your guitar, your piano, whatever it is. Being immersed in music, or just turning up your music really loud and dancing, being immersed in music and that vibration really, really does help to ground and to move that energy through. There are some foods that can help you to balance this part of your body and to feel grounded. The color of the root energy center is red. All of the chakras are like the colors of the rainbow, and it has to do with the vibration that this energy center emits and puts off. So red is the color of the root chakra. So the best way to think about eating when thinking about your energy centers is to eat the same color foods as the energy center. So for the root chakra, eating things like beets, berries, and meat are going to help that energy center balance. I know it sounds silly, but you can also just think about eating root vegetables because these are in the earth, these are in the ground, and these are the minerals that this part of the body needs. So again, beets, carrots, potatoes, anything that grows underground, eat that to support this part of your body. And especially when you are eating here, being really present, being really mindful about what you're eating, about how quickly you're eating, not just scarfing everything down, but really chewing your food, really enjoying the food, thanking the earth for the food, if that's something that you enjoy, thanking the animal that died to provide the food for you. All of that really does help to connect you to the earth and ground you in another way. When you eat while you're watching TV, which I am too guilty of. I try to do it less and less, but when you are sitting there eating and mindlessly eating while you're watching TV or you're listening to a podcast or anything, you're not fully absorbing the experience of eating, and you're kind of out of your body because you're in your head, you are in a different story than your present reality. So the best thing to do is to eat in a present state. This helps your food digest better too, which ultimately helps your digestion and helps you absorb those nutrients and helps everything move through the body a little bit better. The absolute best way to eat, though, I will say, is in a group of people. So if you can sit down and eat dinner with your family or with your roommates or with the people that you live with, this actually benefits you in so many different ways. Not only does it help you to be more present, but it helps you to feel more connected to your community, to the people around you, to your tribe. It helps you to feel seen. It helps you to feel like you belong. And it actually helps your food digest better when you eat around people that you love. Your food digests differently when you are in a state of joy and love and compassion and peace than when you are in a state of fear, anxiety, and detachment. So that is one easy way to really start to feel more grounded. The other thing to think about is creating safe spaces and comfortable spaces within your current environment, or prioritizing the safety, the feeling of safety in your home and your workplace. If you work in a place that does not feel safe to you, or it really elevates your stress levels, it may be time to start thinking about moving into some place that feels better to you. Same thing at home. If you live in a place, if you live with roommates that really stress you out, or if your family is really stressing you out in some way, it might be time to set some boundaries, find a new roommate, or get some therapy and work through some of those issues with your family. You need to have space in your home for just you. You need to have a place where you can decompress, where you can have the things that you like all there. You can decorate it the way that you want to. All of those things really help to ground you and help you to feel at home and to feel safe. And then when you feel safe in your home environment, when you feel safe in the place where you live, where you sleep, you also can start to develop consistent routines. And routines and self-care rituals help you to feel grounded and help you to feel secure. We talked a little bit about this in the self-care episode that I released a couple of weeks ago, but as adults, sometimes we don't care for ourselves or treat ourselves with the same consistency that we would a child or a toddler. And sometimes we need that. We need that consistency. We need that structure for our life to feel a little bit stable, especially if your financial situation is not stable or your emotional situation or your relationships are not stable. Then utilize the things you can control. Utilize the parts of your life that you are able to structure and allow yourself to have freedom within that structure, because ultimately those routines and those rituals are going to help you to feel grounded and to feel safe. So check out your routines and notice where you can implement more safety into them. Or maybe you don't have a routine at all, and maybe that will help you to feel a little more grounded in your life. So as you're thinking about this, as we close today, I just want you to think about what areas of your life you feel most secure and what areas of your life do you feel insecure? What areas of your life feel really safe and grounded to you? And what areas of your life do you feel detached from? Are you afraid of? Or that just don't feel super comfortable to you right now? And then think about what practices that you already do make you feel really grounded and make you feel really secure and safe. And then see if there's anything else that would make you feel more connected. Maybe there's something you can do that would make you feel more connected to your community or to the people in your life. Sometimes it's even just sharing that you don't feel super connected. And if they are loving, caring people, they will see that and remedy it. And then if they don't, then maybe that's a cue to find people that you do feel like you belong with, or that support you and help you to feel grounded within yourself. As I said, if you are looking for a community, especially a community of people like you that are healing, that are more creative and artistic and empathetic and sensitive like we are, then join my membership, join my Substack. It's a great place. There's lots of conversation going on and a lot of really cool other spiritual people that are going through this healing journey themselves too. If that doesn't sound good to you, but you do want to work with your energy and you want to make sure that your root chakra is totally in balance so that you can live life to your fullest, then please reach out to me and set up a consultation and we will talk about how we can make that happen for you in a one-on-one session. I love you all so much. Next week, we will talk all about the sacral chakra and intimacy and creativity and self-worth. So go out there and get grounded. Bye for now.